Hey y'all, it is Tuesday morning. It's 8 o'clock, so that means it's time for trash talk.
Yeah, we are back. We made it through the holiday, 4th of July. Was out of town. I'm enjoying a day off today, so this is about as much work as I'm going to do today.
Well, that's good. That's good. So you got up especially for this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm in my pajama bottoms and a Star Wars shirt.
yeah,
I
there
mean,
you go.
uh,
And
you
as
can't
soon
beat.
as we're finished, boom, back into bed.
I'm going to the couch and gonna start working on my list of movies to watch. So,
So I have to ask you, did you catch the debacle last week?
which one? We had several.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess I put three things on hold that I normally do like on Thursday evenings because I said, well, I really want to see the presidential debate.
Oh God.
And I
So,
wrote back to the people in all three instances and said, geez, I wish I had been with you guys because it was a joke, an
well,
absolute.
it was funny. I didn't even know it was happening. Okay, so I was out of town and I was getting breakfast that morning, and on the TV they were talking about the debate. I actually thought it was a flashback. I thought it was like they were going. I'm like, why are we talking about the old debate? And then I'm like, oh, there's a debate tonight. Like I didn't know because number one, I don't care. Um, but then I was like, I'm not gonna watch it, but I'm definitely gonna get the recap and go back and watch it. And I gotta tell you, oh my
Well, first of all, they spent about 5 days before trying to get everybody prepped for it. Then they had a 3 hour program on most of the news channels getting ready for the debate. Then, when the debate was over, all the commentators came on and said, what was that? What,
God. Well,
where was the debate?
I feel like we all like nobody. I mean, come on, guys. We can't be surprised right now. Is anybody surprised? Is anybody? I don't care what side of the fence you're on. And I swear to God, if somebody comes out here and tells me that after watching that they are confident in their vote, I'm going to laugh. I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
Yeah. No, it raised more questions than it answered, honestly. And I was really let down by the fact, and I put a little bit of the blame on the CNN people. They did not keep it as a debate. It just became a back and forth.
Well, how can you? I mean, look, their biggest thing there, it's like a preschool teacher. You got to just control the chaos and hope you get through the day. I
Yeah,
mean, that was their thing. Like you can sit there and steer. The one thing it wasn't as bad. No, it was, but there wasn't just the first one they did was just yelling, 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 and nothing. This one, at least, even Trump paused to allow him to speak or attempt to speak, and then they would get their digs in. I'll give them that, and that's as
yeah.
far as it goes.
Well, and I think that the process of number one, eliminating an audience, which could disrupt the whole proceedings, and number two, by turning on and off the microphones, that was a plus.
Yeah.
The problem was, I think I was one of those people. I tuned in because I wanted to know how they were going to answer the questions about the future of the direction of the country. And when they would ask a question to get a response, the first thing both candidates did was, well, before I answer that, let me go back and address something that the other guy said.
What it was about. Yeah.
That's not a debate. That's
Well,
you know
it was the best we were going to get considering you had them talk about Roe v. Wade and Biden started talking about illegal. He literally turned abortion into immigration. He starts sitting there and going, well, we got to, they have a right to be here. And he didn't even, he literally had no idea. He confused abortion with immigration.
right.
Guys,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
are we doing? What are we? Nobody is looking at Biden and feeling like you are confident that he did good. And then you got Trump more concerned about golf. And
yeah.
then you got Biden concerned about golf. Both lying, number one. Number two, Biden can't even walk a golf course. Come on, stop it. Stop it. This is bad. But this is what we have. This is our choices in life.
That's the bottom line, Brandon, is that we're asking people to go to the polls, not voting for probably the best qualified people to run the country. It's like they emptied the barrel, and this was what was left on both sides, and we've got to choose, that way. It doesn't quite add up to me.
No, and again, and I don't want to dive into this, but I always say and people get mad at me, and it's fine. Look, we did this to ourselves. We allowed this to happen.
That's right. Yeah. The process has been skewed. And again, I do fault the media. I do fault the CNN, because when they started to not answer the question that was proposed, they should have said, excuse me, the question was about abortion, or the question was about immigration, or the question was about childcare. They asked a question about childcare 4 times and
it
didn't
never got
get an answer from either one of them.
But I mean, you're surprised that CNN didn't do their job.
Well,
What news does their job? Look,
the 2 moderators are decent moderators and all, but a debate is a different form of discussion.
Sure.
And they did not stick to the syllabus for what a debate should be and how it should be run. And I debated when I was in college, and we're talking about eons ago. And also, I know the structure of a debate, and this was not a debate. This was just a bit of a back and forth. And typically, instead of saying, vote for me and this is what I'm going to do, it was, don't vote for the other guy because this is what he's going to do.
It was never even, and there weren't actual numbers. There weren't actual facts and data that could back up their answer to the questions if they had answered the questions.
Yeah.
It was really sad. Now, I know on the Democrat side, look, it was obvious. I mean, we already know the Republicans they're a mess, and we know the Democrats aren't exactly, flying great. But it was obvious after, when you saw the reaction from Democrats and you heard about all this stuff, like, they're panicking now too. And you heard about Obama going to meet with Joe Biden to try to, everybody's like, could he be removed? Could he not be the candidate? First off, I don't think that's the case, because you don't have anybody to prop up.
No.
You can sit there and talk about stupid Gavin Newsman and all you want, but you don't have anybody in this late in the game to switch your quarterback. You don't.
You're absolutely right. And that's why I keep saying, is this the best that both parties can come up with at this point in our history? That when you look at all of the what I think are highly qualified Democrats and Republicans that could be at the head of their party, and they haven't even had their conventions yet.
Yeah.
But this is the best that you can do. You're not helping to get people in a position of saying, I know what direction I want to go in. I think we're going to end up with more undecided people than people that are really committed to one party or the other in November.
So because I'm not smart, I'm not afraid to admit that. Who do you think the undecided votes go to? Do they abstain from voting as a whole? And who does that benefit? Does it benefit Biden if they abstain?
I'm fearful that it's going to create a situation where there are going to be enough people that are just going to say, I don't really care, so I'm not going to vote, which means that your voice is not being heard. And
well, I do have a problem with that, though, because our voices aren't heard. I understand the right to vote. I am not sitting here saying that, but I am 45 years old. And I am a struggling guy trying to get myself to give a vote to somebody that really isn't listening anyway. It is obvious that the Democratic Party and Joe Biden is not listening to a 45-year-old man at all. Hasn't been. it's obvious that the Republican Party is not listening to a 45-year-old dad, and either is Donald Trump. They can't relate to us. They're not listening to us. Yes, you have to look at the big picture, but my voice is not being heard.
Yeah.
How do you think Gen X is sitting this one out? We've been sitting this one out for a while.
That's it. The 25 and under group and all, which is a powerful group for the future of the country, I think are just going to say either I'm sitting it out or I'm not going to vote. I'm going to vote for this guy just because I don't want to cast a vote for the other guy.
And
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 that's
and that,
no reason to
and
vote.
and yes, and you're talking about now. My generation has been sitting them out for a minute, because we don't care, because
Yeah.
we just want to alone. But the other generation, yeah, here's the thing: you're not relating to them. You're not, and the things that you're trying to do to relate to them, you're taking away. You're out there banning TikTok. You're out there taxing their secondary income that they get from these social media apps. You're attacking them. So for any 24-year-olds, 23-year-olds to sit there and say, "Oh yeah, Biden's got my back," the dude is 60-something years older than you. Okay, he doesn't have your back. And to sit there and look at Trump, well, everything that he's done, they don't like. So they very much could sit this one out. Now, you could sit there and say there's a couple things they care about. They care about equality, they care about, the earth and all that. But we have both seen that both of them have gone back and forth and have been hypocritical on their policies with clean air and the environment. And as far as equality, we've seen hypocrisies there too.
Yeah,
So
I'm afraid that both of them seem to favor an approach based on what their mega donors
that's
are
it.
are telling them to do. And it amazes me the numbers that have been thrown out. Where the economy is supposed to be so bad, but all of a sudden, after the debate, each candidate raised like 25 or 30 million dollars.
I don't understand how people, like everyday people,
Yeah.
would ever give money to a politician.
Yeah, and don't you open up your phone every day and there's a text,
Yeah.
please just send $5 or
Why?
$10. What do you want to nickel and dime us hard
I've never.
gifts for? Because you got your mega donors to reach out and they'll open a check and write you a six or seven figure check.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. And like after that, how could you send money to any of them because they didn't do anything? They didn't say. I
Yeah.
mean, everybody is turning on everybody, and the pro Democratic part, people out there, the Jon Stewarts and all that, who I love Jon Stewart. He's even sitting there going, "Yeah, you had one job, Joe Biden, and it's gone. It's over."
I have been saying this for a long time and all that our government is broken.
Oh
and,
yeah.
and nobody has any kind of logical solution for fixing it. And all you have to do is look at the current Congress and realize how many politicians there are that are just saying, "That's it. I've had enough. I'm going to go back into private life and
Just
everything.
get
I
out.
don't want to deal with this crap anymore."
I don't blame them. I
And
mean,
that's not good for America, you know?
well, but maybe it's what we need. Maybe it's what we need to clear some of these, pieces of furniture out of Congress who have been sitting there since, the 1920s.
But I think some of those pieces of furniture realized that I got nothing else to fall back on. This is a cushy job. I
Yeah,
got all
well,
the expenses
that's the
paid for it.
problem.
Yeah.
They're just sitting. They're sitting there collecting our money, but not putting the effort in. That's why we need terms. But what do I know?
Yeah, but who's gonna are we gonna vote ourselves out of office by establishing terms? It ain't gonna it's just not gonna happen.
Had a group of people because we allowed it to happen, but we've had a group of people in politics that have agreed to terms. That we need terms. We allowed this to happen how many years ago? I mean, hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
It's been from we should have rectified that early on, and instead we can't. And now this is the product of it. Joe Biden was in office for 40 years, and he didn't do anything. So do you think that they essentially just said, well, we'll make him the candidate because he's been there long enough? It's like you've been there long enough and you run out of employee of the month, so you just hand it to the guy that shows up.
Yeah. And I also have a real issue with the fact that these both candidates, both parties are raising these millions and millions of dollars, and they are buying ads and putting their efforts into what they call the swing states. Well,
Yeah,
if I'm living in a non-swing state, that's like a slap in my face to say,
really,
well, you're not going to see the ads in your state because we already know which way you're going. We're just going to go to the states that are on the chopping block.
not even trying. And that's why I go back to, okay, so how is your voice heard? I really struggle with this. If you're living in one of those states and you're telling me it's your right to vote, you got to share your voice. It's not. My voice is not heard. My vote gets lost, and I don't care what anybody says. The concept of voting is amazing, and people have fought hard so we could have this, and I'm behind that 100%. But when our government starts silencing those votes and go against what the public is saying, my voice is not heard.
Well, all we can say at Trash Talk is that don't waste your vote by saying, I'm not going to vote. Just try whatever you can to find out
Find
which is
somebody
the
else.
best way to go for the future of democracy.
I'm
Not,
voting for.
not the one candidate or the other, but democracy is at stake here. And
Right.
we
Look,
can,
that's not a wasted vote. Like, here's my thing: if we send a message, put a vote of no confidence in either one, and that's what you're writing in. No confidence. There's my vote. I said what I said. My
yeah,
vote isn't. I said what I said. I'm not going to pick gun to head. That's what they're doing. They're putting a gun to my head and
yeah.
tell me if I don't vote, I am not an American. I am blah blah blah. If I do vote for a candidate, I'm this and I'm. You're putting a gun to my head to pick two people. That's not democracy.
Yeah,
That's not.
you're absolutely right. Well, I'd like to see a show of hands. How many people are going to vote for Trash Talk every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m.?
I'm on the fence.
Okay, well, we got one vote for and one that's right now hedging. So check back next week. If you tune in next Tuesday at 8 a.m. and you see a blank screen, you'll know that the vote went against us.
We got canceled.
All right, go out and make it a good one, and we'll catch you again.